Chapter 1. John Miller works as a taxi driver in New York. His job is with city cabs. Mike, John's boss, calls him one day. It's still very early. Mike asks John, "Can you be at the Plaza Hotel at 7 o'clock? John says yes, but why? Jack and Lucy, Mike's kids, are having breakfast with him and his wife. Mike tells us that Elizabeth Starr is in New York. John, the movie star, asks Elizabeth Starr, "Where do you want me to drive him?" Mike says, "Not her, him. Her son Jake, who is 12 years old, wants to go to New York today. His mom has a job. The Plaza has a letter for you. There's also $50. This is for Jake." John says, $50 for one day in New York? That's a lot of money. Mike says, "I know. Jason, be kind to the boy and don't be late." John says, "You know me, I'm always early." It is 6:30. John is 30 minutes early at the Plaza. He goes to the table. He says, "I'm from City Cabs." He gets the letter and the money from the woman behind the desk. In the letter, it says that Jake has never been to New York before. Take him to all of these places. The first is the Statue of Liberty. This is Macy's. The third is the Museum of Modern Art. John thinks, okay. He's here now, right? I know it's early, but... A boy is sitting in a chair. He says, "Hello. So, are you Jake?" The boy says, "That's me." "Are you a city cabs driver?" "Yes," says Johnny. The kid gets up. He says, "Okay. Let's leave." John first takes a car to the Statue of Liberty. The taxi stops. He asks you, "What are you doing?" "I don't want to see this old spot." He looks at him, John. "But I..." Then he thinks of what Mike said. Treat the boy with care. He says, "Okay, Jake. Where would you like to go?" After 5 minutes, Johnny stops the taxi again. He asks, "Is this the place?" "That's right," Jake says. "Please give me $20. But I don't think your mom. I need $20 right now." Jake gets the money from Johnny. After that, he waits in the car. Jake comes back after 3 hours. John asks, "Are you hungry now?" Jake says, "Yes, I am. Really hungry." Johnny takes his car to Macy's. He says that this store has a great restaurant. Jake says, "I don't want to eat here. I'd like to eat lunch there." John asks, "Where?" He looks at the other side of the street. There are $20 more on Jake when he goes into the big burger joint. He drinks 4 milkshakes and eats a huge amount of food. In the taxi, Johnny eats his lunch. He thinks about $20 for lunch. $20 is enough to buy food for a week. He eats another sandwich and looks out the window. Once an hour has passed, Jake leaves the restaurant. John thinks that you should be nice to the boy. He asks, "Do you want to go to the Museum of Modern Art now?" "Okay," says Jake. He looks at him, John. "Yes." John is very pleased. It takes him $10 to get to the Museum of Modern Art and give it to Jake. Jake says, "Thank you. Hold on." After that, he goes to a movie theater across the street from the museum. Jake leaves the movie theater at 3:45. He's sitting in the taxi. He's very mad. He asks you, "Where do you want to go now?" "Oh, I see. I think we should go back to the plaza. I need to take a bath before dinner because I'm tired." "Good," John thinks. Johnny turns the key in the old car. John stops in front of the hotel at 4 o'clock. He says, "Here we are." His hand goes to the door for Jake. Then he sees a pretty woman wearing an expensive coat. She is leaving the plaza and looking at him as she goes. John thinks, "I know that woman." He then thinks of it. It is, without a doubt, Olivia Starr. Elizabeth asks, "Are you the man from City Cabs?" He says, "Yes." The movie star says, "Come with me." She goes back to the hotel. John sees a boy sitting in a chair there. He seems very sad. She says, "This is Jake." But Johnny isn't able to talk. She says, "I'm very angry." John looks at the boy, then at the movie star, and then back at the boy. He says this isn't Jake, though. Elizabeth says, "Young man, I know my son. Where is my $50 now?" John's face turns pale. He looks through the window. Jake is not in his taxi, but it is there. It's after 5 in the evening. Mike is at home, which is Johnny's boss. He's drinking coffee with his wife. Jack, their son, walks in when the door opens. Mike says, "Hello, Jackie. Have a nice day at school." It looks like Jackie is happy. He says, "Yes, thanks. Good job." In the dimming New York evening, John's heart raced. What had begun as an ordinary day had turned into a perplexing adventure with Jake. But now, with Olivia Starr's piercing gaze upon him, he realized he had been duped by a child that wasn't even Jake. Suddenly, a familiar voice called out, "Hey, John." He turned to see the real Jake, with tousled hair and wide eyes, rushing towards them from a side entrance of the plaza. Following him closely was a tall, imposing man with sunglasses. Jake reached his mother and hugged her tightly, whispering something in her ear. Elizabeth looked relieved, then turned her gaze back to John with a more gentle expression. "I'm sorry for the misunderstanding, John," she said. "It seems we were both deceived by that boy. My son was at a special screening inside the hotel, and that other boy must have overheard our plans." The tall man removed his sunglasses, revealing himself as James, Elizabeth's personal bodyguard. "I got distracted by a phone call, and that kid played his cards right," he admitted with a guilty look. John was trying to process everything, his mind racing. "So, the kid fooled both of us? And he has your $50, Ms. Starr," he finally managed to say. Elizabeth waved a dismissive hand. "It's just money. What's more important is that my son is safe. But I'd like to find that boy and get an understanding of why he did this." As the night deepened, John, Elizabeth, Jake, and James teamed up to uncover the mystery of the imposter. The neon lights of New York streets guided them as they revisited the spots where John had taken the imposter. Their first stop was the burger joint. The cashier remembered the boy well, noting his unusual appetite and his constant glancing towards the door. She mentioned that he had met with a slightly older boy, and they had left together. Piecing the clues together, the team realized that this was not a simple case of mischief. The older boy was likely guiding the imposter, using him to get money from unsuspecting targets. The evening turned into night, and the city's shadows grew deeper. They reached the Museum of Modern Art, where a security guard mentioned seeing the two boys sneaking into a late-night screening. Inside the dimly lit theater, they finally cornered the two culprits. Facing the combined force of a movie star, a determined taxi driver, a bodyguard, and an agitated 12-year-old, the two boys spilled the beans. They were runaways, trying to gather enough money to leave the city and start fresh somewhere. Moved by their story, Elizabeth decided not to press charges. Instead, she offered to help them get proper education and shelter. The night ended with John dropping everyone back at the plaza, earning heartfelt thanks and a generous tip from Elizabeth. The city, with all its chaos and unpredictability, had thrown an unexpected adventure his way, strengthening his love for New York and its endless stories. Mike called John the next day, having heard the tale. "You never know what each day in the city will bring," he mused. "But that's the charm of New York, isn't it?" Moral of the story: help others, sometimes people need help. Like Elizabeth helped the two boys. Be careful, in a big city, be careful. Like John was with Jake. Listen, good to listen to people's stories. Like Elizabeth listened to the boys. Don't judge quickly. John thought one boy was Jake. But he was wrong. Work together. Many people can solve problems together. Like John, Elizabeth, Jake, and James did. Always tell truth. It's bad to lie. The boys lied and had problems. Stay safe. Big places have danger. Like New York in the story. Learn from mistakes. Mistakes happen. But we learn. Like John learned about the fake Jake. Be kind. Kindness is good. Elizabeth was kind to the boys. Trust but check. Trust is good. But check things. Like John should check if boy is real Jake.